Unwanted Opinions podcast. Jay and I are back here recording on a Friday. Was that 2 weeks in a row, Jay? We're recording Friday afternoon, evening.
I think so.
Time frame. Yeah. Jay's going to be gone next week. He's going on a little vacay, so we'll be off next week, but we wanted to get one more pod in before he goes on vacation.
Yeah, but it sounds like where I'm going is like coronavirus city.
Yeah, well, if you're going to Florida, I mean, there's a lot of cases spiking up there in Florida.
Yeah, someone told me like 9,000 just today or something like that. I don't know. So maybe I'm gonna go down there, try and catch it.
I think
Bring
Wednesday,
it back for everybody.
The U.S. had their most recorded cases in a single day, but who knows?
Wish me luck.
Yeah. On tonight's episode, Jay and I are getting to the NFC now of our over-unders. So we're going to do the NFC North. We're going to do the NFC North and NFC South. We've already done every AFC division, so if you're interested in listening to those, go check them out. Jay and I have listed off over-unders for every team, what we think they're going to do. We've given you our total win amounts, everything, kind of broke it down based off schedule and how we like these teams and just everything. We kind of go at it full circle. So we got 2 more divisions to do tonight. Jay, I did just want to ask you, I know you're not a huge baseball guy, but did you see that the MLB is back?
Yeah, with a shortened season.
Yes. I'm just glad that there's a season going to be happening because, like I said,
at this point, I'm about to be the biggest baseball fan you've ever seen because I'm just ready for some sort of sports to be back.
Yeah, I am too. And I know, I mean, they got a 60-game season. I haven't spent enough time to dive in and read everything about what's happening. I know they're doing 40. They're going to try and play a lot of divisional games. So, I mean, you know, the Cubs, that's the Brewers, the Pirates, Yankees, Red Sox, Rays. They're going to play a lot of those teams since they're very familiar with each other and travel and they're close and whatnot. But
it makes sense because then you have a better idea of in your own conference who's the better teams when it comes to playoff time.
Yeah, I think they're only going to have 20 interleague games for every team. I don't know how they're breaking that up, but they've got a lot less time to figure this out than what the NBA did because the NBA gave themselves about almost 3 months to figure this out. Baseball, they're already reporting July 1st for health tests and stuff, and they want to start this season on July 24th so they can get done by the end of September. The regular season, that is.
They're going to be the most, I don't want to say exciting, but they're definitely going to be the test dummies, and it's going to be interesting to see how many things that the NBA and NFL take from this MLB season and basically say this is what we should not do.
They're trying to do it in all their own home markets. They're not like quarantining to Arizona or somewhere else. They're going to do it in their own stadiums. So I think this will definitely help the NFL more than the NBA because the NBA is all in one location. But who knows? I'm just excited that there's going to be some baseball. And I know it's a 60-game season, but at least we get something, man.
That's 60 more games than 0.
That's true. Because, I mean, they just couldn't agree basically on the revenue splits is what it was. The players wanted all their money. The owners didn't want to pay them all their money. So, yeah, like I said, we talked about NFL and NBA. I'm just glad I'm not in that decision-making room there for anybody.
Agreed.
And we talked a little bit about the NBA. I know right before we started recording, Jay, you and I were talking. Adam Silver for the NBA bubble said that there's a possibility that a significant spread to all these players could shut down the bubble. So I know that they don't anticipate that, but they don't know. He also said that he thinks that being inside the bubble will be more safe than being outside of the bubble, which I agree with. I think you and I have both kind of stated that on here before when we've talked about the NBA return. We feel like once they're in there, there's very limited people that are coming in and out. You also don't have as much as freedom as you would just being at home as a regular person, being able to go wherever you want, whenever you want, because who's going to stop you? So I don't know. I just think these are things, obviously, that the NBA's thought of because you saw Wednesday they started doing the testing and you saw 16 of 302 players tested positive, which is only 5%. I think they would probably consider that a win, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and as far as going back to where he said with the significant amount of tests coming back positive, it could shut it down. I don't think that's saying anything that anybody didn't expect.
Exactly.
I mean, if MLB, if there's a huge spike in numbers once the season starts, they're going to shut that shit down. In the NFL, if the NFL season starts later and everybody's good, and then all of a sudden teams just have, 15, 20 players on each team coming positive, they're going to shut it down. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're pretty positive about it as well. They're going to take all the precautions to make it from not happening. But them saying if a lot of people break out with it, we're going to shut it down, I don't think that's anything that somebody should be shocked about.
Yeah, and I don't either. It's just I think now they're finally, because we're getting a lot closer to it, and you saw that they had players test positive for it. I think that's what everybody's big question was like, what if 6 of the Lakers test positive for it, or 4 players on the Clippers, and they're pretty important players? Like, what's going to happen? How are we going to do that? Because from where they have the start of this to the end of it, they don't have that much wiggle room to get this done. I mean, there's a timeline for all of this. Because they can't push that season that far back without completely fucking up the whole 2021-2022 season. And I know they don't want to do that because that has a lot of horrible implications for the players, the owners, everyone really involved. So I don't know.
It's just uncharted territory. So it's just going to be interesting to see, and they're going to have to take it day by day and week by week, because we've never seen anything like this. So I think every system, every sport is going to have its own flaws in the way they do it, but they're going to learn from it. Every sport can learn from each other and move forward. I just really want sports back, selfishly.
I heard this, I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I heard that a few players almost are like, I don't even know how to word this correctly. They've heard from the players that have had the coronavirus. They've told other people that it wasn't as bad as it may be because these guys are like superhuman athletes and peak physical condition and very well. I mean,
I think Zeke just had it.
Yeah,
from the Cowboys. He was basically like, yeah, it sucked for a day or two, but it wasn't
Kevin
awful.
Durant's had it, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert. There's been people that have talked to them and asked them, because they almost feel like there's an immunity if you get it, and then you just pass and you live on, obviously, from getting it. So I don't even know if I heard this correctly, but it was like some players want to get it before they go to the bubble, so they feel like they have immunity of never getting it again.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to say I would want it if I was them, but I get where they're coming from.
Yeah. And so I heard that. I don't remember, like I said, I don't remember if it was today or yesterday, but I was like, man, I don't know. I mean, because I think from everything that they've said, if you are able to get this thing twice, they say that it's not nearly as bad the second time. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of strange, and that's just the things that pop into these guys' head. Like, damn, if I get it now, and a month from now, if like 17 other people have it, then the odds are I probably won't get it. So I don't know. I just thought that was strange
and interesting at the same time.
Yeah. All right, but we can move on to these over-unders, Jay. Let's start in the NFC North. Let's start at the top with the reigning division-winning Green Bay Packers. They won 12 games last year and arguably got worse this offseason. Their over-under is set at 9. Jay, I'm going to say you took the over, but slightly, at 10.
You would be incorrect, actually. I took the under at 8.
Wow.
I wasn't on their bandwagon last year, and I'm not on it this year. I think that 12-4 record that they had at the end of the year, and I said it all year long, did not justify what kind of team they were. You saw them go up against the 49ers twice and just get straight dominated. I think they won a lot of games that were iffy, and I don't think a lot of people knew what to expect out of their offense. And even with the brand new offense, it wasn't flashy. I mean, they ran the ball a lot. And you touched on it earlier. I think they got worse.
Yeah.
So they needed a few wide receivers to really help Aaron Rodgers in this offseason, and they refused to draft them. They go after the quarterback of the future with their fingers crossed, knowing Aaron Rodgers holds grudges. He isn't looking to teach anybody, and he's in win now mode, so try to help him. And to me, they fucked up their whole draft. I don't know what they were doing in the offseason free agency-wise. Didn't like their offseason. I know we have a buddy that's a big Packers fan, and I know he texted me one day saying how, like, it's a guarantee that in year two of a new offense, your offense is going to be better. And I said, whoa, that's not a guarantee. I mean, you
I
look at
wouldn't say that. I
Chicago.
definitely wouldn't say it's a guarantee.
My example was look at Chicago the first year they had Matt Nagy, and no one knew what to expect, and he's over here tearing up, going up and down the field and all this, and they go 12-4 or something like that.
They did,
Nagy's
and
first
then they
year.
went 8-8.
And then you look at their second year when people started getting film on them. So it's like, it's not a guarantee. Let's pump the brakes on just assuming the Packers are going to be that much better because they're in year two of Matt LaFleur's system. I'm not buying it. I have them getting worse. I don't like last year. I didn't think they were an 8-8 team. I would have said they're more like a 9-7, 10-6 team, and they end up winning 12, 13 games. So I didn't think their record indicated that, but their schedule to me is a little bit tougher this time around.
It definitely is.
I see them. I had them at 8-8. So I know you were on their bandwagon last year, and then towards the end of the year, you kind of took a step back and said they're good, just not great. And after you just said that you think their offseason they got worse, I'm going to say you did take the over, but you have them at 10-6.
I do actually. Yes, I have them at 10-6. I don't think they'll decrease by 6 wins like you do, or 4 wins because that's
6 wins. I was
4.
going to say,
My bad.
just,
Yes, calm down over there, Jay. I corrected myself. Yeah, 4 wins. I think they decreased by 2 because, like I said, I don't think they got much better. But again, you mentioned you were just talking about the Bears. I mean, it is Aaron Rodgers and Mitch Trubisky, so you can, like you said, calm down a little bit on that because don't ever put those two in the same breath again. I know you weren't.
first of all,
but
I
essentially
didn't
you
put them in the
were
same
because
breath.
you were comparing the Bears' offense to the Packers' offense. So what's the big
I
part
would
of
say
that
the
is the
Packers have
quarterback
more
position.
playmakers, or the Bears have more playmakers than the Packers.
I would agree, but you also have the most important position on the field 1,000 times better than what the Bears can put out on the field, and that's a big reason why. And like I was saying, I think they do decrease by 2 wins at 10-6. Like you said, their schedule is a little bit tougher. I liked what the Vikings were able to do in the draft after what they lost in free agency. So I do actually think the Vikings are a better team. And if Matthew Stafford is healthy, the Lions will be better. I think the Bears are complete dog shit, and I think they'll be terrible this year. But again, I mean, the Packers, no, they did not help themselves one bit. They didn't get Aaron Rodgers any help offensively except for a third-round tight end who I can't even remember his name. I'd have to go look at who he was. But, I mean, and then you draft A.J. Dillon in the second round. I thought they reached on him. We talked about their draft, how it was just flat-out terrible. I liked the signing of Christian Kirksey at middle linebacker if he can stay healthy. But I don't know, man. Like I said, at the end of last year, I just got off because they didn't improve to what I thought they should have.
And I really think that pick of Jordan Love is going to ruffle some feathers in the locker room, not only with Aaron Rodgers, but more so the veterans who are also looking at it as a win now mode. Like, I'm here, I'm ready to win. And you're basically saying, okay, we're preparing for the future, not right now. So I think there's going to be a lot of uneasiness among that locker room led by Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. And I mean, because there's other guys on that team that aren't getting any younger that definitely want to win now. And they would rather get Rodgers some help offensively that can help, because you saw when they matched up against better defenses, they just, I mean, if you take out Devontae Adams and the Packers offense is just kind of done. It is. So we'll see if Matt LaFleur can make a bunch of adjustments. And I agree. I think Aaron Rodgers just does need to play a little bit better than he did last year if they want to improve or at least stay where they were from last season.
Yeah. Okay, so you took the over, I took the under.
Yes. Vikings, same thing. Over under sitting at 9. I believe they won 10 games last year, won a playoff game in New Orleans as well. I'm going to say you took the over, Jay, because I know you're a big Viking guy.
What did you say the over under was?
It's at 9.
I did take the over, but not by much. I have them at 10-6.
Okay. All right. That's actually, I was going to guess you'd put them at 11-5, but yeah, I think 10-6 is a good spot for them. What do you think I have them at, Jay?
Did you say you had the? Oh, I thought you said you did have them 11. I think you also have them at 10-6.
I do, actually. But where that is, I do think that they'll be the division winner over the Packers. I think they'll win the tiebreaker over Green Bay and win the division. And Green Bay may come in as a wild card team, depending on where I've got other people in the NFC. But Tell me why you got the Vikings at 10-6, Jay, because it sounds like to me that they are your division winner based off of that.
They are. I mean, I'm not just all of a sudden going to be a big Bears fan because they went and got fucking Nick Foles. So I I'm a I like the Vikings roster. I do think they lost some key pieces defensively. We'll see how they adjust, whether it's with the young guys that they drafted or with some of the average to maybe unknown free agents that they brought in. But I think their schedule starts out pretty damn rough out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
But I have them starting out as like more of a 500 team through the first 6-7 weeks, but then down the stretch it eases up for them in my mind. Like after their bye, I have them losing to Green Bay, but then Detroit, Chicago. I do have them beating Dallas. I think they're the better team, but then Carolina,
they also
Jacksonville.
Get them at home too. They got 3 straight home games right there.
Yeah, and then you end with Tampa Bay, who I'm not sold on. Chicago again, who I'm not high on. New Orleans is going to be a tough one, and then Detroit again. So I think they're going to have a tough road, but I think if they can get out of the first 7 weeks or so as a 500 team, down the stretch, they're in pretty damn good shape.
I agree. That's actually kind of basically thought for thought what I have for them. Out of their first bye, I have them going 4-2 going into their bye.
I have them at 3-3 going into their bye.
And then I think you're correct. I think their schedule loosens up towards the end because you get pretty favorable games those next like 6 or 7 weeks. And again, I mean, if that's so, if in your second year and the offense, I mean, the Vikings also are a lot better in their second year under that offense with Kirk Cousins they were in year 1. So then this is just year 3. I know they lost Stefanski, but they still have that same scheme wrapped around of what they want to do with Dalvin Cook. I love Justin Jefferson. We talked about that after that draft. I think that dude's probably going to catch close to 100 balls this year.
Yeah, I think
Kirk
people
Cousins.
look at them as losing Stephon Diggs as this huge loss because he is a really, really good player. But I just think Justin Jefferson is going to come in and be just as productive or make the offense better.
I agree.
Based
he's
on
not
the
a
fact
better
that
player
he's
than Stephon Diggs
less
right
selfish.
now, but I think he can be more productive in that offense and like you said, not cause problems in the locker room or anything like that. I think he'll just come in, jump in, and they won't miss a beat offensively.
I think Troy Dye getting him in the 4th round on that defense being surrounded by all the talent that they have is going to be a steal for them.
Yeah. And they replace Xavier Rhodes with Jeff Gladney at corner. I mean, I think he's at this point, who knows? I mean, it's a rookie playing corner. That's a tough job, but I'm a little more concerned about their defense than their offense. I don't think their offense will miss a beat, really, but defensively is where I think they might struggle at first. But you still got Mike Zimmer. You still got Danielle Hunter. You still got Harrison Smith, Anthony Harris, Anthony Barr, Eric Kendricks. You still got a lot of good pieces on that defense. So I believe in the Vikings a little more than I do the Packers.
So you have them winning the division as well.
Correct.
Nice.
All right, let's just go to the Bears did win 8 games, and somehow their over-under is sitting at 8.5. I have no idea how Vegas has them at 8.5 wins. I'm going to say you took the under, and I don't think it's any surprise that I did too. I'm not even going to let you guess because I know you're already going to get it right. I have no idea. Can you tell me how in the hell they even have them at 8.5?
No, I feel like I got to sneeze, but I'm just going to keep talking anyways. I'm not sure. I don't know where you have them. I'm guessing you have them lower than me. I have them at 6-10.
No, I have them at 4-12. I think their offense, if they don't get that quarterback position figured out, they're just in a lot of trouble. Their defense is good, but how many times can year after year after year, how many times can their defense just keep helping them win games? Eventually, they're just going to get so pissed off and revolt against the offense because it happens.
It does. So they don't have a super challenge. I mean, you still get Detroit twice. You play the Giants, the Panthers, the Jacksonville. You have some winnable games. I'm just not sold on the Bears. I'm in the same camp as you. Maybe. Detroit twice, Carolina, the Giants, Jacksonville. You got some winnable games there, and then maybe steal one in the division. I don't know.
That's possible. I know. I'm just not sold. I think their offense is absolutely
atrocious. Trust me, I'm not trying to defend them. I don't think they're good by any means. Like I said, they went out and got Nick Foles in free agent or in a trade with the Jaguars. No one believes he's the truth. He won the Eagles a Super Bowl, but what has he done when he's been the starting quarterback for other teams? He got beat out by a 6th-round rookie and Gardner Minshew in Jacksonville. And when he was with the Rams, I know he had Jeff Fisher, but he was pretty ass there.
He was terrible.
Like, I'm not looking at Nick Foles to come in and be Chicago's savior by any means. Outside of him, didn't do much in free agency to really help the team, in my opinion.
They've got, 8, 9 tight ends on the roster?
At least. They might be up to 12 at this point.
They have so many tight ends. I don't like their offensive line. They're really, outside of Allen Robinson, offensively, I'm not really sure I like too many guys on their offense. Cole Kmet, but he's a rookie. I just, offensively, I think they're going to struggle to score every single game. I don't even care who they're playing because their quarterback play is awful, their offensive line is awful, and their skill positions, to me, outside of Allen Robinson, like I mentioned, are just average NFL players.
I'm not real sure what Vegas sees in them. They were on them high last year as well, if I remember correctly.
They were. I think they did win 12 games 2 years ago, so I get it.
I know, but I just thought, it's so obvious to me that they are not winning 12 games again, and they went 8-8 last year.
And a lot of people had them in the playoffs last year. There was a ton of guys in the media, so-called experts, that had the Bears just rolling into the playoffs because of what they thought they saw from Mitch Trubisky, which was just, if you really actually watch the games, he was just so gimmicky that just can't hold up.
I don't know if the team backs Nagy. I don't know if they believe in him.
I don't know if do you have a real legitimate reason to believe him at this point? He had one good year, and then last year you saw the decrease in production.
That kind of transfers over to the Lions, who we're going to go to as well. I don't know if they believe in Patricia.
I'm going to say that they don't. I don't think anyone in that organization, any Detroit Lion fan, don't believe in Patricia. I think I believed in him a little too much at first because now I don't believe in him. I don't think he's a very good coach. I think he's just going to be there for one more year, and then he's done. I think they are wasting Matthew Stafford's career. So
you and me both. And I was on their bandwagon at the beginning of the season.
You were. So they're over-under set at 6.5. It sounds like you took the under, Jay.
I did.
At 5-11.
Lower.
4-12.
Lower.
3-13.
Lower.
No way they are going 2-14 if Matthew Stafford's healthy.
I have them at 1-15.
No fucking way, dude.
Now here's why. Hear me out here.
Unless Matthew Stafford doesn't play, unless he doesn't suit up at all, they're not winning one game. Come on, Jay.
Hear me out here. I don't think the team believes in Patricia. I think the very first win they get is week 1 at Chicago. Then I think they lose to Green Bay. They lose to Arizona. They lose to New Orleans. They go into their bye. And here's where it gets fun for me. I think they come out of their bye and lose to Jacksonville, and that sends them into the tank, just like last year where it took one game to really be screwed over, and then they looked like a complete different team. I think after they get beat 3 weeks in a row by Green Bay, Arizona, and New Orleans, go into their bye and come out and lose to Jacksonville, I just think the team's going to tank, and then they're going to be looking for the future.
So do you think they fire Patricia after that game, and then they just trade Matthew Stafford or bench him?
I didn't think that far ahead about the firing of Patricia, but as you say that, yeah, I could see it happening. I know he has a really good relationship with the owner, but I could see them canning up.
The owner did say that this was him and Bob Quinn's prove-it year, and if they start off the season 1-5 and lose to fucking Jacksonville.
Yeah, so in that scenario, do you see that as being plausible if they come out of that bye and start out 1-4 and lose to Jacksonville, and they fire the head coach, and then I think the owners.
I don't think they lose 15 straight games because
I don't know, man.
You look at their
anybody
schedule.
Can do it. The Lions can do it.
They have games against the Redskins, the Panthers. They have another game against the Bears. They've got 2 division home games against the Packers and the Vikings, and they can play them tough. I'm not saying that the Lions are awesome by any means, but with a healthy Matthew Stafford, who I think's a top 12 quarterback in the entire league, there's no way
I'm not
they
banking
win
on him
one
staying
game.
Healthy or even starting the season healthy.
And that's fine. If you think he's going to get injured, they definitely won't win more than 6 games. They just won't. But I'm not predicting that he gets hurt. So I actually took the over. I think they're going to go 7-9.
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think they're a better team than Chicago.
I do. I
Even
think the
with
Bears are
Foles at
trash.
quarterback.
I just think the Lions are just better. I mean, offensively, they've upgraded the offensive line. If Matthew Stafford's healthy, you just brought in, I can't think of his name, the kid from Georgia, the running back that they just drafted.
DeAndre Swift.
You bring him with Kerryon Johnson. You got two pretty damn good receivers. You got the TJ Hawkinson at tight end. You just took 8th overall last year, who I think is a good player. He just was adjusting to the NFL and had a little bit of concussion issues last year. So you've got some good pieces offensively. Their defense, no, isn't great, but you just drafted Jeff Okudah. You still got Trey Flowers. You got Jared Davis, who's on a prove-it year. So I think they've got a little bit more pieces than the Bears do. And like I said, if Stafford stays healthy, he's proven that he's around a 7 to 10 win quarterback.
We'll see. I just think the team quits on Patricia.
And they may fire him. And if they fire him,
I think you saw that last year.
Someone else comes in and they're just like, hey, let's play hard for this guy. Not saying they're a good team, but they're definitely better than a 1-15 team.
I will agree that I think roster-wise they are better, but the way I see the season playing out, maybe they'll get 2 wins. They only got 3 last year. Let's not act like they were some fucking
Yeah, but Stafford got
franchise.
hurt after like week 4, and he didn't play the rest of the year. So that's why, and you know that. Because, okay, I just think it's funny. Last year, you were all on the Lions. This year, you were all off of the Lions.
Correct.
And that's fine.
I just don't think they're bandwagon at the right time.
So you think they're the worst team in the league?
No, not roster-wise, but I think they will finish with the worst record.
Okay. Mark it down, Jay.
Mark it down.
We've got it marked. All right.
Go ahead.
Let's just move to the South now. We can stop talking about the 2 shitty teams in the North.
All right. I'm down with that.
Let's start with the Saints because they, again, won the NFC South again at 13 wins. Or was it 12? It was 12 wins, I believe.
They won the South.
It might have been 13. It was 13 wins.
They were 13-3.
Yes. Yep. So 13-3. Actually, I believe the Packers were 13-3 last year. So we were.
They were.
Okay, so you were down 5 games on them. Anyways, that's way off topic. But so they're over under set at 10.5. I believe they have the 3rd highest behind Kansas City and Baltimore for all teams this season. This one was tough for me. Jay, I think you took the over at 11.
I took the over at 13.
13. Okay.
I just think roster-wise, they might be the best team in the NFL again.
They're up there.
Like you saw in the regular season, we've talked about how Breeze does just somewhat shit the bed in the postseason. His just arm strength isn't there. He's older and he's not getting any younger. But in the regular season, man, there's very few teams I stack up when they face head-to-head that I just think is a better team than the Saints. And I don't really think they got worse this offseason. I know they had a slight little hiccup with the Drew Brees comments, but I still think in the locker room and as a team, everyone there knows Drew Brees is a good person at heart, and I'm not going to bring the politics into it. I'm talking about as a team standpoint. I don't think they may have looked at him sideways for a hot second, but the guys that have been with them the entire time know Drew Brees is a good guy, and I don't think it's going to affect them going into the season. They upgraded at wide receiver by bringing in Emmanuel Sanders and getting Drew Brees another weapon to throw to outside of only Michael Thomas. Them. Yeah, they get somebody like Ty Montgomery, who after the Packers let him go, didn't really do much, but I think Sean Payton will be able to utilize him in different ways. Malcolm Jenkins is no matter how old he is, he's a huge upgrade to that secondary with his presence and his IQ. Just he knows what to do on the field. And really, who did they lose? I'm off the top of my head, I can't really think of anybody they lost that was a big-time need. I know they lost Teddy B, but he was the backup. And Ted Ginn Jr., I would definitely say Emmanuel Sanders is an upgrade to him at this point in his career.
I can't think of anybody they lost.
They did lose Larry Warford, the guard. I think they just flat out cut him, didn't they?
I believe he retired, but they drafted the Cesar Ruiz from Michigan in the first round, and he's easily going to replace him. And you were a huge Zach Bond fan, and that was basically their biggest position of need to me was like a star linebacker for him. Yeah,
and
he's
Zach
a hybrid
Bond's
pass
go
rusher,
right in there and fit in
coverage
nice.
guy. I mean, I mean, he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife that you could throw on defense and do a lot with him. I like the Saints a lot too. I took the over at 12. I think they just decreased one game, but I still like them a lot. It's everything you said. The regular season, Sean Payton, Drew Brees, they've shown it year after year if they at least have a capable defense of stopping people, which they definitely do now. Bringing in Malcolm Jenkins helps defensively, calling plays, and Marcus Williams, their secondary is just really, really good. Marshawn Lattimore, you still got the Jack Rabbit, and God, I can't even think of his name, but I know his nickname.
You talking about the Florida safety they got last year in the draft?
The corner, yeah, from God, why can't I think? I'm just completely blanking on his name. Played for the Rams and then the Giants, and now he's on Janoris Jenkins. There we go. I can't think of his name. He's their other corner, so I really like everything about them. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to replicate going 13-3 2 straight years, but 12-4 ain't too bad.
Yeah, I don't know about what they'll do in the postseason. I don't know if I bought into that yet, but in the regular season, where Breeze is still playing at a good level, like I said, I don't see too many teams beating them.
Agreed. I think they're just a flat-out good team. It's hard to win in the Superdome, and a lot of their tough opponents, they get at home. They get the Packers at home. They get the 49ers at home. They do have to travel, and the Chiefs at home, and the Vikings. They do have to travel to Philly, but I mean, outside of that, there's not too many tough road games they have at Denver, which is tough, but so
I don't have them losing a game until week 10 or 11 against the 49ers.
Okay. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move to actually, let's just go to the Buccaneers because they have the second highest win total projected from Vegas at 9.5. They won 7 games last year. Everyone, I feel like this is because they brought in Tom Brady, who's 43 years old, think that they're just going to the promised land now, going to win 16 and go 16-0. Colin Cowherd just ranked Brady as the second best arm talent in the league right now at 43 years old and hasn't thrown 30 yards in probably 4 years. But anyways, where do you have him, Jay? I'm guessing you took the under.
I did, but right under. I have them at 9-7, so I'm improving by 2 wins, and that's more so a testament to their strength of schedule. They get Carolina twice, who I think is a tanking team. You get Chicago, who we just talked about, we're not bought in on. We don't know what the Chargers are going to be with their rookie quarterback or the veteran who has won some games but isn't spectacular. They get the Giants, the Rams, who neither one of us are bought into, Detroit, who I just had at a 1-15 team. So they got some very winnable games on their schedule. I think they lose to the teams that they're supposed to lose to.
Agreed.
So the way their schedule played out, I still have them at 9-7. I haven't listed out yet if that makes them a playoff team. Like I haven't went through and saw, do they have the tiebreaker over anybody or they look on the outside looking in? But I am not scared of them at all if they do slip into the playoffs as a wild card team with that record.
I agree. The only good thing, I like you, they don't have. I think they actually do have a tougher schedule than what you think because I mean they do still they play the NFC North, they play, so they've got and the AFC West, so they've got the Raiders, they've got the Chargers, they've got the Chiefs and the Chargers. So I don't think those are easy games at all for them. The best part about their schedule, I think, is they have a late bye, which will be good for Old Man Tom because it's in Week 13. But I have them at 9-7 too. I think they can improve on 2 wins. But, I mean, that's not that impressive to me. And I don't know if I have them in the playoffs yet either because we still have 2 other divisions to do this for. But I
like them getting Tristan Wirfs all the way down at 13 was flat out awesome.
Yeah,
for
and
best
Antoine
case
Winfield
scenario.
Jr. in the second round is good. And obviously, Brady's not going to turn the ball over as much as Jameis did. But again, you got to counterbalance.
He's also not going to push the ball down the field as
exactly
much
what I was
as
going to say.
Jameis did.
He's not going to. Their offense isn't going to be as high powered as it was last year. I know they'll decrease in turnovers, but I think they'll also decrease in points per game, yards per game, and their defense still is not very good. So their defense,
and they still don't have a run game.
No,
you can sit here and pound the fist telling me that the Ronald Jones is the next best thing, but I don't know what you're banking that on because he had an average career at USC and he hasn't done shit in his first 2 years in the league.
No, I mean they almost cut him after training camp after taking him in the second round.
Or was he? He's only been however long he's been in the league, 1 or 2 years. He hasn't done.
I think
a
it's
damn
2 years.
thing.
I believe this was last year was his second, and he was
I
better in
thought
his
it
second
was.
year than his rookie year, but he still wasn't very good. So I agree with you.
Maybe Bruce Arians believes in him because I would have thought that would have been one of the first things they did was either draft a running back high or go get one in free agency, and they did neither.
No, they did not. I mean, I don't know. As long as he can catch swing passes out of the backfield and screens, he'll be fine with what Tom Brady likes to do.
I guess, but I thought Peyton Barber could have done that for him, and they
He
let him
could.
go.
Well, who cares?
I hear you. I think Tom Brady needs a running back and a good defense, especially at this
He's
age
had
of
it
his
his entire
career.
career.
And it's not like they're a great special teams team, and I don't think they have a very good defense. It might be improved in year 2 under I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Their defense coordinator is a stud.
But
Todd Bowles.
Shaq Barrett's coming off a career year. Does everyone really expect him to replicate that? I don't think you can absolutely bank 100% that he's going to. I like Devin White. Levante David's a good player, Vita Vea. But, I mean, their corners are terrible. They were the 29th ranked pass defense in the league. I don't know how much better Antoine Winfield Jr. as a rookie safety comes in and improves that. I don't think that much.
I think everybody's expecting Gronk to come back and be Gronk, but the dude's been out of football for a year, and he's a lot skinnier, and I think they're going to try and utilize him more as a pass catcher.
Yeah.
But I think what made Gronk so special is when he was in line blocking, you weren't getting by him, and then that also made you think twice about stacking up against him because then he might go out for a pass. So if you put him out wide every time, that kind of discredits some of the things he's so good at and what made him so good in New England.
I think I saw a few weeks ago that I don't know if these were executives or scouts, but Bleacher Report came out, said that a few NFL people said they weren't as worried about Gronk as everyone thinks that they should be. Because, again, like you mentioned, he's been out for a full year. They don't know exactly what he's going to look like. He's probably not at 270 like he used to play at. I'm sure he's not there. And we don't know about his mobility. I mean, he was very injured towards the end of his career with his knee and his back, his time in New England. So who knows if you're getting 2015, 2016 Gronk. I'd be really surprised if he's that good.
I think very low chance you're getting that version of Gronk.
Yeah.
You just better hope and pray that you can get 70 or 80% of what he was.
I think you'd be very, very, very lucky to get that.
Agreed.
Because, yeah, it's not that easy to come back. You saw what happened when Marshawn Lynch retired and then came back.
And I'm still not sold that Brady and Arians are a solid fit.
No, their offensive systems are like night and day.
Agreed.
I mean, Bruce wants to attack downfield. Brady wants to dump off 5 to 10 yards.
So we'll see how it plays out, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I have him at 9-7, but that's a
I think,
very
and
reluctant
I think
9-7.
9-7 is generous as well.
Yeah, I mean, the GOAT with all these offensive weapons, and Vegas only has him at 9.5. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, let's move to Atlanta. Their over under is at 7.5. Jay, I'm going to see you took the over.
Their over under is at 7.5.
7.5.
I did. I have them at 9-7 as well.
9-7 as well. Okay.
See, so again, this might play out where Atlanta has a tiebreaker. I just need to go look at what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. I think I may be falling for it again, Jay. I've got him at 10 wins.
I know. It happens all the time, and I keep saying "fuck Atlanta." I'm not doing this again.
Because you saw at the end of last year what they're capable of. I mean, they started off 1-7, and then ended the season 7-9. So they went 7-2 down the stretch. That's who they should have been all year. Hell, if they would have won at least 3 games in those first 8, they'd have finished. They would have probably made the playoffs at 10-6 last year. I mean, they're very capable of doing it. They didn't lose very many people this offseason of value, really, to them. I mean, you got Calvin Ridley, who I saw they're going to involve more in the offense, what they should have been doing anyways.
And no shit.
They think they can unlock Hayden Hurst from what he was stuck in Baltimore, more of a run-heavy offense when Hayden Hurst should be a pass-catching tight end. I mean, I think he can have very similar production to Austin Hooper. I don't think they're losing much with Devontae Freeman because he hasn't been the same player in 4 years.
I remember they brought in Todd Gurley. I don't know if he'll be a huge upgrade, but if he's anywhere what he once was, they told me, or not told me, but I read that his knee checked out.
They texted you, Jay?
Yeah, dude, I wish, but I read that his knee fully checked out and he's healthy and ready to go. So
I think he's out to prove something too. So, I mean, in my opinion, they do have the best receiver in the league, and Julio. Matt Ryan still throws for close to almost 5,000 yards a year. You got Caleb McGarry and Chris Lindstrom coming in your second year on the offensive line. So
And I believe
hopefully
Lindstrom was
they
hurt a
can be
lot last
improved.
year.
He was. I think he
A
broke his
guy that
foot.
they really believed coming in would be a
Yeah.
solid starter from day one, and it just didn't help the offensive line because he was hurt. Then they go out and get Matt Hennessy, highly ranked center coming out of college this year.
Mhm.
I think they're doing all right. I'm not a huge AJ Terrell fan, but I think they had bigger needs than corner.
I
But
think they
I
had a
think
big need at corner. I just thought there were better players available than AJ Terrell at that
I'm
at
falling
that
for it
time.
again, man.
So
And I, as far as like earlier when I was talking about teams not believing in their coach and bailing on them, I really think the players like Quinn,
I think
and
they love him. I think they want to
they
play
want to
for
play
him.
for him. And I think they know that he is on one of the hottest seats in all of the NFL this year. So they're going to want to win for him and go out and perform. So I'm fucking falling for it again.
I'm pushing my chips into the Falcons. I think they're going to be a good team because they just have all the right pieces. Man, I
At
like
least
a
we took
lot
a
of.
step back from last year where we believe they were like a 13-win team.
Yeah, I'm not going that far.
I think you have them at 9-7 as well, like I do.
No, I've got them at 10-6.
Okay.
Yep. So but they would probably make the playoffs depending on
And what'd you say their over/under was?
7.5.
All right, undersell, overperform.
Yeah. So I like Atlanta, man. I do. I think also Dante Fowler's an upgrade over what Vic Beasley had been for him the past couple years. So I like him. All right. Last team in this division, the Carolina Panthers, over under at 5.5. Jay, you and I both don't think they're a very good team. That their defense may be the worst defensive personnel in the entire league. They're very young. The loss of Luke Kuechly will be huge. No more Ron Rivera. No more Cam Newton. This is a completely different team. I took the under at 4-12.
I have them at 2-14.
2-14. There you go. So
I
was
might
a little
be
more
underselling
generous.
them. I just think, as we're again earlier we talked about Green Bay and how our friend was like they're no doubt because of 2 years. Some new head coach, offense coordinator. It's a brand new for everybody. And it's not like it's some system that's common. I think this guy's coming in, bringing what works for him. It's a Saints offense. I think it's pretty tough to catch on to, but very effective once everybody's bought in. So this is a team that next year I won't be having them as a 2-14 team. I just think this first year they got a lot of kinks to work out. Brand new quarterback, brand new head coach, brand new offensive coordinator. They let some guys go. They really paid McCaffrey. So all the care. This is another thing I'm worried about, and I don't wish injury upon anybody, but McCaffrey's touched the ball a lot the past 2 years and not been hurt. I would be borderline shocked if he made it through all season without being injured this year.
Yeah,
as much as they force feed him.
He had some bumps and bruises last year, showed up on the injury report a few times, but he does. I mean, some guys just don't get hurt, and I like you said, I don't wish any injuries on anybody, but somebody's just bodies are just built differently. But anyways, the only thing I really like about the Panthers are their skill guys on offense, like McCaffrey, Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore. I like those guys. I don't know about Teddy Bridgewater outside of New Orleans and
they
with
paid
the kind
him.
of production that he can put up because their offensive line, again, isn't very good. I know McCaffrey put up a lot of numbers in there and he ran the ball effectively, but I'm not sold on their offensive line. It's like you said, brand new scheme with Bridgewater to learn. And as I
think with what they want to do
I think their
offensively,
defense is the worst in the league. Their defense sucks. It's really bad.
Yeah, I think with what they want to run offensively, Bridgewater is a better quarterback for it than Cam Newton was. But overall, I think Cam Newton's the better player.
Oh, I mean,
I'd rather
Cam
have Cam Newton
is,
than Bridgewater.
is way better than Teddy Bridgewater. There's no question. That's not what
and
I'm
I mean,
saying.
offensively, they lost Trey Turner, Darrell Williams.
Yeah, their offensive line's bad, and they didn't
Greg
replace
Olsen.
anybody. I mean, who did they trade? Russell Okung for? Or
Yeah,
they traded.
I
for
know
Russell
they're trying to
Okung?
get younger, but usually when you try and get younger with brand new people everywhere, you're not very good year one.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Brown, Yurda Gross-Matos, Jeremy Chin. I like some of the players they got defensively, but if you're counting on those guys to lead your defense to like a winning record, I think you're just going to be in for a rude awakening. Which I actually don't think that they're really trying to win. I really don't. I think they're a team that's looking for one of those top quarterbacks. Even though I know they gave Teddy a lot of money, he's not their guy for the next 15 years.
I mean, they're in the Carolinas. You got a guy named Trevor Lawrence playing right up the road.
Yes, sir. Who is
I mean, you got
Praises.
3 studs coming out at quarterback, in my opinion. This could be one of the better quarterback drafts we've seen in a long time, to me.
We'll see.
Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance.
I got to see how
I'm a
Justin
believer
Fields.
in Trey Lance.
I just got to see how Justin Fields plays this year, and we'll see how his game translates to the NFL.
Okay.
We'll
I
see.
watched every game he played last year, and I'm telling you, the dude's the truth.
I watched a lot of him too. I'm not saying that he's bad. I'm just saying those Ohio State quarterbacks sometimes, Jay, you know this very well.
Correct.
How they play
But
when it comes to the NFL.
I think Ryan Day runs a very pro-style offense, and Justin Fields nailed it in his first year, and he's only going to get better in year 2. We'll see, but I'm telling you right now.
Like I said, I'm not
league.
saying that he's going to be bad. I just say I want to see a little bit more.
And I think another difference is, outside of Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, they rarely ran design runs for him last year. He only runs when he needs to, and he's always looking
now.
back. He's a pass-first guy.
I didn't know. This turned into a Ohio State talk.
Yeah, we'll move on. But again back to the point, I think Carolina could be on the verge of tanking to get a quarterback as well.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think
because
they're
the
trying
head
to
coach's
win.
job is you look at it like the Raiders. The head coach isn't. His job security is not. They can't fire him after his first year.
What,
How much money they paid him?
7 years.
Yeah, a lot of money.
They give him a lot of money. So I think obviously he's got some work, and they just want to bring in a whole new regime there in Carolina. You got a new owner, you got a new coach. You brought in Teddy Bridgewater, but I think he's just obviously a stopgap, and then you want to get your guy forever. You want to be married to a quarterback who you think is going to take you to the promised land. Because if you look at Carolina, if they do get one of these young quarterbacks in the next year or two, I mean, look at the other quarterbacks in the division. Drew Brees is 40. Tom Brady's 40. Matt Ryan's in his late 30s.
He's got to be mid-30s, yeah.
So you look at those, I mean, the Carolina could be the team for the next 5 to 10 years, depending on what these other teams are able to do, because those quarterbacks are just getting older, and then it takes a while to find a quarterback most of the time. I mean, you're not the Colts go to Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck, or the Packers go to Favre to Rodgers. It's difficult, and you see that a lot.
So would you say, I guess by your record, they are finishing second in the division?
Who?
Oh, never. I was thinking of Atlanta. So I was trying to go in my head on who you had winning. So you had the Saints, then you had the Falcons. Whereas, what'd you have Tampa Bay at?
9-7.
7-9, right?
Man.
No, you have Tampa Bay at 7-9.
No, I don't.
I have Tampa Bay at 9-7.
And so do I. Did you listen at all when we were talking?
Yeah, dude, I took the over and I took the underwriter. So what's Atlanta at? You have Atlanta at.
Do you want me to just you stop talking for 1 second, and I'll tell you who I've got, what record, and because apparently you didn't listen the first time.
I'm gonna re-listen to this damn podcast. You had Tampa Bay at 7-9.
I didn't. I had them at 9-7 because I said I have them the same exact as you. I have the Saints at 12-4, the Falcons at 10-6, the Buccaneers at 9-7, and the Panthers at 4-12.
I ain't buying it.
Either your
so you
ears
do
weren't
think this
working,
one of the tougher divisions,
or your memory's just as bad as I know it to be.
Well, it is.
Because I just said it literally about 10 minutes ago, and you couldn't remember.
But would you consider this one of the better divisions in football then?
Probably. I'd say it's a very competitive division at least.
I still think NFC West, which we get to next week, is probably the toughest division in football.
It might be. I didn't say that this was the best.
I know.
It's up there for sure.
I'm excited to talk NFC West because I think,
a good division, man.
Just as a little teaser, I think people are going to be surprised at how we feel about Arizona.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are kind of believing in the Cardinals a little bit.
You think so?
I do. From stuff I've seen.
I haven't heard much chatter about anything with the Cardinals.
Fuck. I mean, what is there to talk about right now? I mean, people are just making up segments on TV right now to talk about things. So, yeah. Oh, well. But
let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Subscribe to the Unwanted Opinions podcast wherever you get them. We're on every major podcast platform. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave comments, leave reviews. You can also get at us Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Unwanted Opinions with Nick and Jay. You can email us unwantedopinionpodcast@gmail.com. We're available pretty much everywhere, so Jay and I'll get after you.
Yeah, slide in those DMs. Do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Get your questions answered.
That's right.
You ready to get out of here?
Yes, sir.
Until next time.
Until next time.